Shari Davis is a recognized community leader for over a decade.
Hi, and thank you for joining us on Vote 2012. Shari, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Sandy.
Well, sir, let's talk about the current recessionary situation here. While Santa Monica is surviving better than most cities, no matter how you cut it, there's still a loss of money. How would you set priorities in dealing with this?
Well, I'm glad you asked it that way, because I think that's exactly what you have to do when you're looking at budget decisions. You have to set priorities. And I think our community has really expressed some excellent priorities, public safety being at the top of the list. We want a community that is economically viable, that's livable, that has sustainability practices, that has services for our residents, and really protects the diversity of our community. And that's the framework upon which I would make my budget decisions as a council member.
And how about in terms of raising revenues? Can you think of a place where you could go to tap some of those sources?
Well, as you know, I was the chair of the last campaign to increase the city's revenues. So 2 years ago, we were able to do a very creative way to increase revenue to the city through Measure Y and YY. And
which one was that? Remind us.
That was the half-cent tax that we have in Santa Monica, and it's now generating over $12 million a year for the city. Those are the kinds of creative solutions that I think Santa Monica always looks for, and as a council member, I would be very open to looking for more such solutions.
Great. The Santa Monica Airport, very controversial today. It arrived at its present-day operational status without adequate environmental impact investigations. What will you do to remedy that going forward?
Well, I think that the airport is a very difficult situation, and I am concerned about the environmental impacts, the issues with noise and pollution for the residents nearby. I think that even though we've had a rocky relationship, as I understand it, with the FAA, that we have to keep working to push the FAA to allow us to increase the safety and the environmental impacts of the airport. But it is important to have a working relationship with the FAA. We've spent so many dollars, tax dollars, on legal fees, and I would want to be very careful not to continue to expend a great deal of our taxpayers' dollars on extensive legal fees when we can try continuing to negotiate and work at ways that we can bring some of the other decision makers at the federal level into that discussion.
What are your thoughts about the plans for the subway or light rail into Santa Monica?
Well, I'm a big supporter of the Expo Light Rail. In fact, over 20 years ago, I was involved in the preliminary planning study to look at the right-of-way for the Exposition Light Rail. And it's well underway. It's going to be here in 3 or 4 years, and I think it will be a real game changer for transportation options in Santa Monica and the whole West Side. And I think Santa Monica is well prepared. I think we're working hard to make sure that the transit stations are going to provide the access to our community that wants to use the light rail, live here in Santa Monica, and for those who don't live here and are coming here for their jobs. So I see it as one of the solutions to decrease our traffic congestion in town.
Wouldn't that be wonderful?
Yes, it would.
Over the last 15 years, the city has changed dramatically. Do you think the change is for the better?
You know, I do. I embrace the Santa Monica that we have today. I've lived here for 23 years, and I see a city that's been able to innovate, that's been able to maintain its natural resources, that's been able to provide services to its residents. We have such a wide array of services, from services to our youngest to our oldest, and we have the amazing natural resources of our beaches and ocean. So I treasure all that we have in Santa Monica, and I see that it's one of those things that it is a constantly moving entity to have a city, and that's why I wanted to run for city council, to be part of the engaging life of a city.
All right, in the less than 1 minute we have, I have a question to ask you about this most service-resistant group of homeless kids who are the teenagers, the throwaway kids as they call them. How can we improve services to these young people?
Well, Sandy, actually, I chaired the board of one of the best organizations called Covenant House California that serves exactly this population. And it is able to approach breaking the cycle of homelessness by really understanding kids and approaching them in a way that isn't too aggressive, but understands their needs, including their educational needs, their health needs, and I think those are the approaches that we need to continue to take in Santa Monica.
Thank you very much, Shari.
Thank you, Sandy.